to me now. You're not invincible. If you let your guard down, I'm not gonna let you fall. Hold on to me now. I'm not invincible. Drowning in self-doubt. Can you pull my demons out?
So if you're just joining us, my name is Gabby, and this is Break the Stigma. Right here with me is Sammy J. She's a licensed clinical professional counselor. She's an LCPC. I've practiced that a lot, by the way. I really have, because you deserve the recognition, that like exactly 100% the way it is. But if you guys are just joining us, we're going over 10 tips to reduce holiday stress, and Sammy has expected me to take notes, which I may have done in advance. But we're gonna go over the first 5 that you missed. So the first tip to reduce holiday stress is to acknowledge your feelings. Your feelings are valid and your feelings are normal. Tip number 2 is to reach out. Isolating yourself can, unfortunately for me personally, I'm like the queen of isolating myself. So, there's people out there that love you. Reach out, whether it's Meet Me, some form of a group, like a group on like Facebook, your friends. Tip number 3 is to be realistic. Be realistic about, if like I said, COVID is a big one. We're all dealing with COVID. We have to understand we're going to have to adapt and be realistic to the situation. Tip number 4, set aside differences. I get that people have grudges, and unfortunately, there's a time and a place for that kind of stuff. So, don't bring that negative energy to a place where you're supposed to celebrate with family and friends. And number 5 is stick to a budget. Know what you can spend so that you can make your ends meet. So how to do?
You got it. Nailed it.
Oh, I might have practiced in the mirror.
Good job. Good job. All right. So then we're on to step 6 then. You guys ready?
Yep. Tip number 6 of tips to reduce holiday stress.
Yes. So tip number 6, let's go. Plan ahead. So this kind of goes with the idea of like budgeting, being realistic, all that kind of stuff, right? If I plan ahead, it cuts out the potential for anxiety. So this might mean meal prepping, planning what I'm going to buy, where I'm going to buy it from, how much I'm going to spend, planning tasks, right? Like, so this week is going to be concentrating on decorating the house and cleaning it. Next week is going to be devoted to shopping, whether it's for the food for the dinner or the gifts, that kind of stuff. Like, break it down for yourself, plan ahead. Also, if you get a curveball thrown in there, it makes it easier to say, okay, I can see this is my schedule, this is my plan. If I move this here, I can still do this thing, like maybe it's work, that kind of stuff. You can fit it in and still get everything done.
Yeah, and honestly, man, if I use a planner, maybe a little too religiously. I sometimes plan things down to like the minute. Maybe it might be a little unhealthy. But if I didn't plan things out, I would be so overwhelmed and so stressed out, even more so during the holidays. It's like you don't need that added stress. You can literally take away some of that stress by just being proactive and scheduling everything so you don't get overwhelmed later.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, tip number 7, learn to say no. Boundaries, my friends. I am the biggest advocate on boundaries. And actually show number 3 is potentially going to be about boundaries. So I'm not going to go into a ton of detail. I'm going to keep you guys hanging on that one. But learn to say no. It is okay to say no to people. If they love you, they will respect it. If they don't respect it, maybe they don't really care that much about you. So yeah, learn to say no. Again, planning ahead helps. That's what I was saying about work. If you can't say no to certain things, there are certain things you just can't say no to, right? Potentially work, certain things you can't say no to doing. Planning ahead helps when you can't say no.
Yeah, definitely. And I've worked nearly 10 years of my life in retail. So I've pretty much missed like every Thanksgiving, I've worked every Black Friday and that's where we kind of like compromise and come up with a plan to sell, you know what I mean? So like adapting, that was be realistic. We're gonna go back real quick and use our
putting it all together.
putting it all together. Yeah, and honestly, and this might be like a trigger warning, but saying no to peer pressure as well. Sammy said earlier that relapsing is more typical during this time of year. So saying no to the peer pressure as well.
Absolutely, yep. Good connection there. All right, 6, 7, 8. We are on 8. I should have numbered these on here. 8 is don't abandon healthy habits. So that was actually a very nice segue there. So don't abandon healthy habits. Don't, jump back into addictions. Don't binge eat food that is going to make you feel like crap afterwards. Don't stop exercising. Do the things that make you feel good. So some suggestions are eating healthy snacks before holiday meals so that you don't overboard on those sweets and those cheeses and those drinks. Keep eating those healthy meals because, again, I'm kind of a big proponent too on you are what you eat. So when we eat food that is good for us, we feel good. When we eat food that is bad for us, we feel like crap. So get plenty of sleep. Sleep's a big deal because if you're tired, you're not going to be able to handle stress. Your brain will not be functioning enough to handle the stress.
That's the truth, girl. That's the truth. I can't handle like daily life if I'm tired.
Yes. Regular physical activity, that's so good for stress, getting that stress out. You need that physical activity, deep breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, all that stuff. All keep doing those. Don't abandon those things.
I know, and I'm guilty of abandoning healthy habits during the holidays. I do notice like I really do exercise less and my diet isn't necessarily the best, but you have to, nourish yourself with real food, stay away from the news. Actually, I saw that in this article, the same article we were at, it said that the news is a bad habit. Like it's good to be informed, but sometimes too much is a bad thing. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
Yeah, so even that's a bad habit.
Yeah, news overload for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 9, take a breather. So it's okay to make time for self-care. Self-care, super, super important. I mean, all of this in essence is self-care, but literally each day you should be making time for self-care, even if it's 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes. 15 minutes to sit without any distractions. That's the biggest part. No distractions. Just you, yourself, what you need to be doing. So find something that reduces your stress by clearing your mind, slowing your breathing, restoring your inner calm. So that might be taking a walk at night, stargazing if you're in a place that has stars. Not every city has stars, but some of them do. Listen to soothing music, read a book, all these things. There's a million of them. Those were just 3 ideas.
Oh, man, definitely. And you said only 15 minutes. That's enough to kind of get you back, like rejuvenated, center yourself. That's all you need in a day?
I mean, the more the better, but if you can get at least 15 minutes, you're going to see some help from that. I mean, it's not like the magic wand that's going to like cure everything, but you will see some help from that.
And it's funny you say that because I'm the type where my mind is going all the time. And if I'm not busy doing something, then I'm like panicking. So, those times that I do find to actually self-care, like take a bath, like light some candles, like it really is amazing. It rejuvenates you. It really does. Like only 15 minutes a day. No excuse. Just 24 hours in a day, y'all.
Exactly.
You just need 15 minutes.
Planning ahead, right? Like we can find where to put those 15 minutes.
Look at us putting everything together.
Yeah. We're tricky like that. Tip number 10. We ready for the last one, guys? I know this has been a lot to take in. Tip number 10, seek professional help if you need it. So you can do all these things and you still might feel not great. And that might be a time to say, okay, I need a little bit more behind me. So if you are feeling persistently sad or anxious, plagued by physical complaints, so like we call that psychosomatic symptoms, so just everything hurts all the time, I'm always sick, but the doctors say nothing's wrong with me, those kinds of things. Unable to sleep, irritable and hopeless, that hopeless one, that's a big one. And unable to face routine chores. So if you can't do your normal chores, tasks, work, kids, you might need a little extra help, and that's okay.
It is okay. Like, listen, I am such an empath, so people tend to gravitate toward me for like advice or just to vent. And you know, sometimes I love that. I love doing that for people, but sometimes it's beyond the help you can get from your support system.
Absolutely.
And it's okay. I mean, I've been at the point 2 years ago, right before the holidays, I admitted myself to a psych facility because I was able to be fully aware that I was not okay mentally and that there needed to be some changes. So I was proactive about it. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's definitely okay to ask for professional help.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I've had clients tell me, you know, I thought it was, you know, just talking to my friends, my family was all I needed, but like coming to you, having somebody that's totally unbiased, has no stake in the game, is so much different, and I feel so much more comfortable saying certain things that I maybe wouldn't say to other people. So,
and I can say that from just personally, I see a therapist every month. And unfortunately, my therapist actually got a new job, so I'm meeting my new therapist in a couple of weeks. So I'm actually really sad about that. But you know, life goes on. We move. We adapt. But anyway, guys, if you're just joining us, my name is Gabby. I'm the host of this awesome new show we're bringing to the app called Break the Stigma. I have Sammy J in the box right now. She's a licensed, oh my God, LCPC. She's a licensed counselor, guys. It's a mouthful to say. We just went over 10 tips to reduce holiday stress. That's what we're talking about today. So if you missed it, I'm going to just go over them real quick here, and then we're going to have our guests join us today. So 1 through 10, tip number, I keep saying step. We're not we're not completing
no
things.
steps, just tips.
We're just stating tips. Tip number 1 is to acknowledge your feelings. Don't bottle up your feelings. Your feelings are there because they're real and they're valid. So embrace that. Tip number 2 is to reach out. Don't isolate yourself. And it can be easy to get caught in that trap, but you have a support. You have friends to reach out to, family. There are so many communities out there that you can be a part of. Even Meet Me, I would say, is a community such as that. Tip number 3 is to be realistic. We're going to have to adapt as things happen in our lives, and that might, disrupt our normal ideal holiday. We just have to be realistic and adapt to those things. And tip number 4 is to set aside differences. The holidays are a time for celebration. There might be family conflicts, so there's a time and a place for it. So, schedule a time to talk about that conflict with that person. Don't bring it upon the family. It's very stressful. Tip number 5 is to stick to a budget. Especially with COVID and a lot of people are out of work or reduced hours. You need to take care of yourself first. Get your bills paid. Make sure you have food on the table for your family. Don't buy love. Your family is going to love you no matter what. Tip number 6 is to plan ahead. I like a big schedule person. I like to schedule everything on a planner. If you schedule what you're when you're going to shop, your menu, you know what I mean. If you schedule those things, you're not going to be so overwhelmed later on. Because it is a lot of stuff, but when you plan it, it becomes a lot less stressful. Learn to say no is tip number 7. Learn to say no. I mean, that's just boundaries, which Sammy is, she's a boundary advocate, and that's one of my biggest weaknesses is setting boundaries. So it's okay to say no. Your family's gonna understand. If you're in a situation where you can't say no, it's okay. Tip number 8, don't abandon your healthy habits. It's easy to, turn to drinking during the holidays. There's parties, gatherings. It's easy to kind of slip up on your diet, and then you slip up on your exercise. Well, You have to be strong. I hate to say that, but you can't abandon the things that make you feel good. Nourish your body with positive things, with real food. Make sure you're still exercising, and you know, love yourself. That's kind of goes into take a breather. You need to take that time, even if it's only 15 minutes. Take that time to love yourself. You know, go for a walk, take a bath, read a book, lay down in the dark, whatever it is. You deserve that time. You do. And the last tip, number 10, to reduce holiday stress is to seek professional help if you need it, guys. I try so hard to advocate that to my friends, because many people do not seek help and they think that they're seen as weak, but you're not weak. It actually takes so much strength to ask for help, guys. So don't be afraid to take that route if you feel like you need to.
Absolutely. This is the hammer, or this is the hammer, this is the nail. Right on the head. You got it, girl.
Woo! All right, all right. Well, Sammy, thank you so much again for agreeing to be my co-host. And this, I mean, I think we're doing pretty good so far.
We're going.
Oh, this is great. Okay, Sammy, I'm going to have you exit the box. Thank you so much, Sammy. So I have a special guest on the show. If you're just joining us, this is Break the Stigma. This is a show where Sammy and I bring a new mental health topic to the surface, and we kind of dig at it, bring you education, tips, resources are always on our Instagram. And now I'm going to introduce someone to you who is a really great friend of mine. If you're a regular in the stream, you know who he is. And he was one of the people who answered the Instagram question, guys. There's an Instagram for the show. It's in my bio. It's Break the Stigma _meet me. Every week we have a new topic. So we actually ask a new question related to future topics on our Instagram. And it helps us provide you really personal content, because you guys are the ones answering the questions. And it also gives you a chance to be a guest on the show. So if you're interested in being a guest on the show, guys, make sure you follow the Instagram. Keep your eyes peeled for those questions we have there every week. And without further ado, if Chris Dude could request the box. Drum roll, please. I don't know how to do it. Don't make fun of me, y'all. Here he is, Chris Dude.
Yo.
Chris Dude. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show, Chris. I'm so happy you're here. You guys, if you don't know Chris, he is seriously probably one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. Please hit him with a favorite. He goes live sometimes. He's seriously such an amazing individual. So amazing, guys. So Chris, I brought you here because you responded to the Instagram question.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you it again. And the question was, Chris, what stresses you out during the holidays?
All right, awesome. All right, so a few things. I'm not gonna try to go like too crazy at my way here, but one of the few things that really stresses me out here during the holidays is being so distant from roses. Not get distracted by that. Thanks, Sammy. Is being so distant from family, a negative family to be specific, and also not having real friends to go to. You know, friends that like backstab you around this time. Also, like the need to like we were talking about, like buying friendships, buying love. Like sometimes, like I feel like I need to impress some of my friends, and that's something that I've been like improving on for like the past like 3 or 4 years, after realizing, you know, I have fake friends that just want to use me for money. And that's usually around the holidays. Like some people ask me, hey, can you buy me this? It's only $50. It's like, listen, friendships are free and I'm not made of money. And that's a few of the most stressful things that really like try to break me in half. And the best thing I can do is pick myself up from that and just say, you know, you want to see somebody that's made of dirt, go find somebody that cares.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Chris. You know, I'm really glad that you've already like showed us that you're making way better decisions for yourself by surrounding yourself with people who truly are like there for you, man. So good for you for doing that. You're so positive. You don't deserve that kind of negativity at all. But anyway, Chris, so how have you coped with those things that stress you out during the holidays? How have you been proactive to cope with those things?
Another great question here. So proactive is a very important word that we should all study, that we should all know. So how I've been proactive here. So what I'm gonna use friends, fake friends as an example. So I had this one friend for 6 years. This started happening about 2018, where I started to notice that he was using me for money and he was using me for rides, like riding in my car and like making me waste gas. So the one thing I had to cope with was, how can I tell him I don't want to be friends with him anymore because he's using me for all this? That, hey, we're friends, but I need to focus on my life and you can't be using me for money. So it was like back in March, I finally went to my one friend and said, hey, look, this friendship is not going to work. You know, I have my own life I need to worry about, and you asking me for money is not one of them. That is a huge negativity factor right there. That is a hell no. So that's one of the things that I cope with that.
I cope with that.
So that's leading into the budget thing. Now I started to like be more serious with my budget on and off. This year it has definitely been the year that I've been more serious, like putting 100, 200, 300 bucks in my savings and actually being focused on like the bigger things I want in my life. Like if it's a new car, or like trying to move out, or like, hey, I want like a bass, or like, hey, maybe you want to get the new PS5 that nobody cares about. Some people want it. You know, that's definitely a huge factor right there. And this is such a legitimate topic that needs to be covered. Maybe it's not easy at first, but coping skills are there. You know, coping skills are not to be broken with a baseball bat. And that is one thing that everyone should discover about themselves is like, if you know what your coping skills are, like, what are ways that you can deal with this? And my ways are understand my budget, understanding who's there for me, who's not using me, who's using me. And
you know what, Chris, I hate to cut you off, but you mentioned like family conflicts. I'm going to just bring up your response mentioned like Friendsgiving. So you found the right people and you've been surrounding yourself with them as a way to cope with the family issue that you've mentioned. Is that right?
Correct. I can talk about that if you want, but the Friendsgiving is definitely one of the other huge parts of my life, which has happened recently, which has really helped me open up as a person to the ones that want to listen to what I have to say, ones that don't, you know, give me BS for who I am, why am I living my life, or like why you're living your life, or why Sammy's living her life, you know, etc.
Wow. Okay. Wow. You've really implemented a lot of those tips actually through your coping mechanisms that you've come up with on your own. So that's really awesome, Chris. Now, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Is there anything I want to add? You know, I think I have a story that I do want to share, and then maybe I can throw in a few extra tips if that's all right.
Oh yeah, go for it. I'd love that.
All right. So back to the Friendsgiving that you mentioned. So I'll share this a bit with the rest of you, and I'm pretty sure you know because I told you, Gabby, but we'll give a chance to everybody else to listen here. So I was at a Friendsgiving Friday up in New York, and the friends that I were with, very open, very energetic, and these were all people that don't have family to go to, whether their parents are dead, or parents that are you know, that have issues with drugs or alcohol, or have like bad connections that these friends of mine cannot be surrounded by. They have parents that have filed restraining orders against them, which I know is sad, and I know that's ridiculous. Now these are people. We just all got together, you know, blast good music, and like stayed up till 2 a.m. and you know, and back to the partying thing, you know, have a few drinks here and there, like that is not bad at all. But you gotta remember to have good food there too. And if you know your limits with drinking and alcohol, you know, as long as you know that you're getting help with that, you know, stick to it. If you really feel like that it's going through the roof, make sure you do reach out, because you don't want to get to the part of your life where it's worse and you're breaking glass and you're trying to hurt yourself, because that's not what we need. What we need is this support. And just remember that even if there's not much right now going on with this pandemic or in this generation, just know that we have each other. Anybody that's watching us that, you know, is friends with Gabby or me or Sammy or Sean and et cetera, all the rest of here, you know, we just want to say we love you and we appreciate you. And we all understand for the most part what we're going through. And let's all just explore our minds.
Yo, Chris, I love you, man. I'm so glad that thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I wouldn't have had it any other way. You are amazing. Do you have any questions for Sammy before you exit the box?
Yes, for Sammy, because you asked me for coping skills, Sammy, what is one way that you cope with negativity or depression?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. Well, guys, Chris, do you go live like regularly? Would you like to tell everyone when you go live so they can favorite you and visit you?
Absolutely. I will kindly tell you the same, but I would appreciate that. I would want the message to go out there, because I want to say this too. There are times where I play ukulele on my lives, and I play my drums. I do some trivia. I'm going to start breaking more into that in my stream. So I would truly appreciate that, Gabby. I love you.
Oh, absolutely, Chris. And guys, please favorite him. He's great. Thank you so much. If you could just exit the box, I would appreciate it. So your question was, how does Sammy cope with negativity? Is that what your question was?
Negativity or depression, either one.
Or depression. Okay, thank you, Chris. Guys, if you are just joining us, my name is Gabby. Chris, much love to you. This is a show called Break the Stigma, guys. This is a show where my co-host Sammy J and I, she's a licensed clinical professional counselor. We bring you different topics each week that are related to mental health, and we provide you education, tips, resources, and positivity. I am just so excited about how this show is going. So, guys, we're going to introduce Sammy back in the box. Hi, welcome back. All right, Sammy. So Chris was wondering how you cope with negativity or depression. One coping skill you have.
Oh, I was like, darn it, Chris, like, you're going to make me think here. There's a couple of things. So, as far as negativity goes, like, I am fortunately very blessed to be able to, like, know how to just let things roll off my shoulders. I try not to internalize anything. Again, maybe that comes with boundaries. And again, we'll get to that show of, like, I don't own other people's things. It's their thing. And if that's how they feel, they can feel that way. And I don't have to own it. So that's kind of a big part of it. As far as, like, depression goes, coping skills, that kind of stuff. I'm a huge, like, TV nerd buff. Like, name a show, I probably 60% chance I've seen it. I'm, like, huge and just getting lost in storylines, drama that's not my drama, and drama that I don't have to, like, help other people with either. I can just sit back and watch and be like, oh my gosh, is that happening? That's a huge help, definitely. I'm also very close with family, so I'm always, like, with my sister or my cousins. We're playing games, we're goofing off, having fun, we're cooking, eating together. We're a big family that comes around the kitchen a lot. We are always in the kitchen doing something.
That's awesome.
So those are probably, like, my big ones.
I learned something new about you. So you're a good cook.
I don't cook. I observe the cooking. Okay. I give helpful tips, like, hey, that smells like it's burning. You might want to get that. I'm a great cheerleader in the kitchen, and I love to eat. I'm a good taste tester, but I don't cook.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, right, Chris killed it. He
did.
And Chris, good job not cussing. Good job.
I know, you did so wonderful. I'm so proud of you, man. I'm about to give you a gold sticker. The no swear sticker.
He, like, hit on all the tips. I'm like, can I find one that I didn't do? But he got all of them. I'm so impressed with you, Chris, that You can do all these things. I'm hoping that that actually really helps you through the holidays, because you're hitting all the tips.
Oh, definitely. Wow. All right, guys. Well, this is the moment where I'm going to say you guys can comment now, ask any questions to Sammy or I, and we will try to read and respond to as many as we can.
Yes. Send the questions.
Send the questions or experiences.
Yeah.
We just want to hear what you guys think about the show too. Like, have you found this stuff helpful? Have any of you guys had a takeaway from these tips today? We have no questions at the moment, but I love you both. I love you too, Cameron. You're an amazing person.
Cameron is another super positive person.
Oh, he definitely is. And wow, you guys are just so amazing. If you're here, because everybody hit a 1 real quick. Even if you're just spectating, hit a 1. I'm curious to see who's all here. Oh, Cody. Oh, you guys, I love you. You guys are so amazing. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are just absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness. Brand new to the show, but in recovery from both depression and addiction. Glad to be here. Miss Renee, I'm glad you're here too. Guys, if you haven't already done so, please favorite Sammy J. I guess she's on this side. Sammy J. And favorite me by hitting that star up here. This is a show we're going to do every week, every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're just joining us, this is Break the Stigma. It's a show that I am so happy to bring to the app. We're going to bring awareness to mental health. We bring you different topics each week, and we provide you education, tips, advice, and resources. And I'm just so excited that you guys are here. This is the very first ever segment. So you guys are just watching the show bloom from the beginning, and I just appreciate you guys so much. So wow, you guys are just incredible.
Yeah,
I work
Butters,
on
so
breaking
glad we
the
helped
stigma.
you. That's awesome. Yes, Miss Renee, that's a huge stigma.
Substance use disorder. Definitely. If you guys have any suggestions on show topics or just things such as substance abuse that you would like us to possibly bring to the show, we have an Instagram. It's Break the Stigma Break the Stigma _ meet me. If you hit the bio up here, you'll be able to see it instead of hearing me like trip over my own words. There it is, right down there, guys. Break the Stigma _ meet me. We provide a different topic every week, and Instagram has been a really amazing tool. We ask questions to you guys in hopes that you'll respond. There's either polls or open-ended questions, and your responses are used in the show as a tool for us to provide you great content and valuable information. And it's also a really awesome way if you'd like to be a guest on the show, like Chris. Chris responded to the Instagram question. And Sammy and I went over all of them, and we decided that it was so amazing. He literally, his response was the only response that actually gave a solution. Actually, no one else gave a solution. Chris gave a solution, and it's wild, man. You really covered all those tips. I'm really proud of you, by the way. You're a very strong person. Does anyone have any questions for Sammy? She's my co-host, a licensed clinical professional counselor. All those syllables. So much love for all of you guys. I'm so happy you guys are here to experience this show with us. Views than I do now, and I'm just so happy. If you got a question, Jason, what's your question?
Let's hear it, Jason.
Please, if you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments now. I don't know if you guys have been hearing, but I put very slow Christmas piano music on. I think more so for myself. I think it was more to help myself. Guys, if you're new here, this is a show called Break the Stigma. Can you please favorite Sammy J? She is an amazing co-host. She's a professional counselor, and she's a live streamer here as well. I thought I was gonna have to go like climb mountains to find a co-host, and she was actually recommended to me by Thunder right here. Thunder is amazing.
We gotta thank Thunder for this.
He's so amazing for introducing us, and it's like beyond just creating the show together. Like you are just an amazing person, and I'm so glad that we're friends. This is just amazing. Holidays during COVID.
Well, one before we get to Jason's, Timo is saying, I'm legally blind and my family has difficulty understanding. Timo, I am actually in a wheelchair. I don't know if anybody else knows that. I know some of my viewers know that. So that is potentially a topic we could touch on, is like disabilities and mental health and that kind of stuff. So thank you for that idea.
You know, actually, this morning someone messaged me that, and I put it in my notes. So that's awesome. We'll definitely go to that subject someday. Now, Jason said a lot of people have lost loved ones this year to COVID and other reasons. What is the best way for those to cope with loss during the holidays?
Oh, loss, especially right at the holidays. So we are going on, this is year 2 of the anniversary. We lost my aunt on Christmas Day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like,
I'm sorry.
I know how that experience is, of like losing somebody on the holidays. And it's tough. Again, these tips are super helpful for that as well, as just like reaching out, feeling your feelings. It's okay to change things. All those things are super important for grief in general. So a lot of these tips I would still suggest for that. You definitely have to, you know, just feel your feelings, and it's okay to be sad, and maybe you do something to honor the person during the holidays.
Definitely. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yep, definitely. I lost my mom 17 years ago, and you know, this is a really rough time of year for me, so I can definitely relate. You know, definitely doing something to honor my mom, it makes you feel fulfilled. It makes you feel like I'm still honoring her. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's not easy. Definitely not easy. How will you know if you do enough to comfort people who confide in you about their hurt?
How do I know if you do enough to comfort people? So Tess, that one I would say, again, goes back to boundaries. Everything goes back to boundaries with me. I'm such a nerd. Is if you are comforting somebody, you need to do it because you care about them, and knowing that just being there with them is going to make a difference, and you may never get feedback that it's enough, quote unquote, because they're going through a lot of stuff, and it may be just that it's helpful in that moment, and they might return back to a state of being upset. But in that moment, you know, I think physical signs are going to tell you if it was helpful or not. Body language is what, like, a ridiculous amount of how we communicate, like 70% or something crazy. So look for those physical signs, but if you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart, then it probably is helpful, at least in that moment.
Definitely. But here, I've been in the situation where people have confided in me, and they've considered ending it. And if it gets to that point, that you are not going to be enough.
Absolutely.
So make sure to and actually, that's a good question. If someone's in that situation, what would you suggest?
As far as if somebody is threatening like suicide or something to you?
Yeah, what is there like something you could suggest as like the friend of someone who's in, like, you know, being there for someone who's considering that really, really bad thing?
Yes,
hotline.
Yes, there's a suicide hotline. There is, you know, obviously if you can stay with them as long as possible, that's good. Also recognizing that you are not a professional, and maybe trying to talk them into going to, Definitely. So I know like where I'm at, there is, there's a mobile crisis facility that you can call, where they will actually come to your house and talk to you, and they will evaluate and decide if you need to go to the hospital or not.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know that even existed.
We also have like a crisis center that is separate from the hospital. So it's just for people with mental health crises going there. So it's like an ER for mental health. Or if you can get them to go to the ER, like all of those are great options. If they refuse to do that and they have a plan and they're going to do it, you can always call 911, ask the police to assist. It sucks to have to maybe get to that route, but it's important to keep people safe.
Definitely. And we're running out of time here, so I'm going to take Ash's question. What if you're a good listener, but you're not good at comforting someone? Like, you're not really someone who gives hugs or gives good advice.
So to be a good listener doesn't necessarily mean saying a word. Now, you can engage in what we call active listening. That's what therapists do, is just kind of like repeating what they're saying to you. Maybe hitting on like, oh, it sounds like you feel this way. Those kinds of things, just let them know you are listening. But most of the time when people are upset, they don't always want advice. They just want somebody to sit and listen. So you don't have to do any of those things. You know, you can just sit there and let them know that you're listening.
Definitely. All right, guys. So that's it for the questions. We're running out of time here. If you guys are just joining us, it's the end of the show. My name is Gabby. This is Break the Stigma. This is Sammy here with me. She is one of my great friends, a live streamer on the app, and a licensed clinical professional counselor. I'm getting real good at saying that. But guys, this is nearing the end of our show. Please hit me with a favorite. Hit Sammy with a favorite. We go live almost every day, both of us actually. So make sure you're here. You're going to get a notification here, Instagram, Snapchat, about the show. So remember, every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, Break the Stigma.
Yes.
And also, guys, I'd just like to let you guys know, once again, we do have an Instagram we use as a resource. Immediately after the show, all of the resources used in this show will be posted on the Instagram if you guys would like to revisit any of that information we went over. We also will be posting next week's topic question on our Instagram story, so make sure you guys follow us on Break the Stigma _meet me. I gotta make sure I say that right. It's also right there in the comments for you. Take a screenshot if you have to, or go to my bio. It's right there for you too. Also, answering those questions, guys, it gives you a chance to be a guest on the show, which is really exciting. So if you guys want a chance to be a guest, keep an eye out for those questions on our Instagram page. Sammy and I go through all of them. We refer to them in each show anonymously. And we'll message you if we think that your response will be beneficial to the audience.
Yeah, and it really helps us kind of fine tune the topics depending on what people are saying too. So you guys can kind of help sway the episode a little bit too.
Absolutely. All right, Sammy, I'm gonna have you exit the box. There's something. Thank you so much again for being on.
Bye, y'all. Thank you again.
So, guys, I'm gonna be closing every show with a card from this deck. This is Soul Truth. It's a self-awareness card deck. It's really interesting and unique, I think, to have this in the show because first of all, it was a gift of mine, and I started using them, and I thought it was really interesting because what the purpose is of these self-awareness cards is to ask your soul the right questions so that you have a soul-driven response. So it's like really knowing yourself and, no biases. So I'm going to pick a card every week that has to do with closely related to the topic, and this will also be posted on Instagram. I'm hoping to open every show with one of these self-awareness cards. So if you guys follow us on our Instagram, we'll also have this on there as well. And if you respond, whether it's on the post itself or just in a message, I would love to have one of you guys as a guest on the show next week. So make sure you guys follow us on that Instagram. So this is the card. It's where can I ask for more help in my life? This card has a quote, a soul action, and a mantra. The quote says, until we can receive with an open heart, we're never really giving with an open heart. When we attach judgment to receiving help, we knowingly or unknowingly attach judgment to giving help. Today's soul action, guys, is today ask somebody for help and receive it with an open heart. And the mantra for today is, I ask for what I want, and I am open to receiving it. So, guys, this is where can I ask for more help in my life? If you found this card to be beneficial to you, even if it's a few days down the line, please follow our Instagram, revisit that post, and reply. I would love to have a guest be able to reply to this card next week when we open the show. Well, guys, thank you so much. My name is Gabby. This is Break the Stigma. The show is on every Thursday in this live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am so happy with how this turned out. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to just, let's see, who gifted me this stream? Ash Marie, Sassy, Skittles, Chris Dude, Jameson, WHBK, Freeze New, Dylan, Alex, Sean, Cody, Jason, emojis. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everyone who's been supporting me on this new journey. Me and Sammy both on this new journey, guys. All right, well, guys, follow up on the Instagram. We'll have all that fun stuff there for you. Bye.